everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Shelly Peters. This is the place to embrace the plant-based life. Today I want to talk about something near and dear to my heart. It's volunteering. I've been volunteering most of my adult life, and I have a little bit of a story to tell you today. I want to share how I made ramen, the Japanese noodle soup that's so delicious. I made it at the Good Shepherd shelter that I currently volunteer at. You probably have seen some of my little videos that I do every time I'm at the Good Shepherd. It's been an incredible experience there. The ramen went over incredibly well. And I stopped for a moment when I was sharing that Japanese noodle soup with folks from Syria, Nigeria, local Hamiltonians, folks who were in the shelter restarting their life after some sort of struggle. It occurred to me that my love for Japanese food started years ago in another volunteer experience that I had. So I'm going to tell you that story in just a minute. I just want to talk a little bit about volunteering, and I'm hoping if you don't already have a little volunteer gig in your life that you'll get one. I think everyone should volunteer because a few important things happen when you do. You meet folks that you wouldn't otherwise probably meet in your life, and that can be life-changing. You can start seeing a broader spectrum of the world from different countries, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and it's a beautiful thing. Your empathy muscle gets flexed because of that. Your perspective changes and you begin to see life's challenges, particularly your own, in a new light. You make the world a better place when you decide to be a volunteer and do something kind for people in need. And those acts of kindness have a ripple effect. I think you probably already know that every time you even witness an act of kindness, it changes you. The opportunities that you get when you're volunteering are incredible. And you oftentimes will look into the eyes of someone in struggle and you are able to silently confirm to them they're not alone. And here's the cool part. Not only do they realize they're not alone, you also realize you're not alone in the world. It's a beautiful, symbiotic experience. You know what? You gain a deeper, more compassionate understanding of humanity, and the fact that, you know what, we're all doing the best we can, and sometimes we need a hand up. Some of the most profound experiences in my life have been in a volunteer experience. When I think back at all the volunteer gigs I've had, they were PTA president, running a carnival for a PTA. Those were in Texas. I did lots with Big Brother, Big Sister. One of my favorite experiences was when I got to teach at-risk teenagers in Hamilton. And it was a truly life-changing experience for me to get to know these kids that were literally the definition of courage and resilience, coming from families that were in profound struggle. Now, of course, as you know, I work as a volunteer at the Good Shepherd. I work in their shelter that takes families. And it is not only an amazing place for families to get the support they need to restart their lives, but for me to even be shoulder to shoulder with the staff who are truly extraordinary human beings, it's an incredible experience for me. I work in the kitchen, I bring recipes in, and even better, when the residents bring recipes to me, I buy the ingredients and we make it together. I'm really proud of my hometown for having one of the only shelters for families in the whole area. So I've been volunteering at the Good Shepherd shelter for about 3 years now. I think it's close to 3 years. And I absolutely love the opportunity to be with both refugees and local folks that are really at a very, very difficult time in their life. They're trying to restart their lives, and they obviously, to be in the shelter, you need to be a family. And so they have children as well, and it impacts the kids. And you know what, it seems like for many people, the kitchen is a place that you can forget your struggle. And I've been in this kitchen at the Good Shepherd with the most amazing group of people, and everyone coming together. Even if there's a language barrier, we use Google Translator or even just Google images, and we figure out what we need to say to each other. And so many people are comfortable cooking and they will just dive in, whether they can speak the language or not, and start cooking. So it's been an incredible experience, an international one for sure. I've got to taste food from the exotic flavors from Syria, Czech Republic, the Sudan, Nigeria, and more. So it's just been an absolutely fantastic experience. But you know, my volunteer journey started a long time ago. And the funny thing is, as I said earlier, the Good Shepherd Ramen Day, which was just last week, really felt like a full circle moment in my volunteer life. Years ago, I met a Japanese friend through volunteering. Her name is Shizue. Hi Shizue, I hope you're watching. She introduced me to the Japanese food and Japanese culture, and it had an impact on me. I absolutely love Japanese food, and I've been lucky enough to be actually a tourist in Japan a couple of times. So Shizue and I were both volunteers in Texas when we met. Shizue is back in Japan and I am back in Canada now. But you know what? We've remained friends. In fact, Shizue even brought her family and stayed with me for a couple of days while they were exploring the area. And I'm really hoping that I get to go to Japan and visit Shizue. I started eating ramen years ago, and I've been able to find plant-based ramen in some of the local ramen shops in Toronto. And I thought, hey, I think I want to learn how to make this. And it is a simple and such a delicious and healthy soup that I want you to definitely check out the recipe below. You'll be able to see the photos that I'm going to be showing throughout this video of ramen, and it is delicious, and you can customize it any way that you like. Let's go back to Texas and let me just give you the story about Shizue and I. I've arrived in Texas, I'm brand new, and I raised my hand to volunteer as the carnival coordinator. Wasn't really sure what I was in for, but I was enthusiastic and wanted to help out. The carnival was in fact one of the biggest fundraising events of the school year. When I volunteered, I had a couple of specific requests that I wanted to make. And one of them was, I wanted us to have a specific reason for the fundraiser. I wanted us to know exactly what we were going to be working hard for, what we were going to be, photocopying at midnight, those 700 flyers. I wanted to make sure that we all deeply understood why we were doing this. And what I really wanted to do is I wanted the food to represent the diverse culture of the school. Carnivals in the past were mainly hot dog centered because someone in the neighborhood was a generous vendor who sold hot dogs and donated them every year. I wasn't a plant eater in those years, mind you, but I definitely loved international cuisine, and I wasn't really a fan of hot dogs. So I wanted to reach out to every single mom I could in the school that could represent a different culture and ask them, could they help us secure some food donations so that we could turn this carnival into an international festival. And in fact, that's exactly what we did. These women from all corners of the globe stepped up, and within no time, we had an amazing array of international foods donated by local vendors. And yes, the hot dogs were still donated. I love when these volunteer opportunities bring us together in our different cultures, bring us together in humanity. We all love to eat, and why not share all the different kinds of foods that we enjoy in our own culture? It was so successful and so fabulous. I had so many people stop me during the carnival and say, wow, this is the best carnival food I have ever had. So one of the moms, of course, in this carnival operation caught my eye. She's a brilliant and creative Japanese woman named Shizue. Her enthusiasm and her sparkle made me want to work with her again. She was brilliant and innovative and so happy and so wonderful with the kids. I really wanted to spend more time with her and do more projects with her. Well, the following year, the school asked me to be the PTA president, and I agreed. And as you can imagine, I asked Shizue to be my vice president, and she agreed. So we had an amazing year. together. We did all kinds of amazing projects. It'll be something that I treasure for the rest of my life. Shizue, at that time, introduced me to Japanese food and Japanese culture. So here we are, 19 years later. I think it's 19, it might even be 20. And I'm making ramen for Canadians, Syrians, Nigerians in a homeless shelter in Hamilton because I volunteered in Texas, no less, and became friends with another Japanese volunteer. So I just call that a cool circle of volunteer love. I hope that you decide that you will volunteer as well. I highly recommend it. It is an amazing experience. So let me tell you a little bit about ramen. Ramen is made with a dashi broth, and the broth is made by soaking a kombu, which is a seaweed, along with dried shiitake mushrooms. You create a broth by soaking the seaweed and the mushrooms together for hours. And after that, I like to make a ramen that later you add chilies, soy milk, and miso, and it makes a rich, creamy broth. After you have your broth, then the fun begins. You can cook any noodles that you like, udon, soba, and the toppings can be anything you can imagine. Mushrooms, baby bok choy, bean sprouts, pea shoots, Brussels sprouts. I have put so many different things on my ramen, just whatever sort of flavor combinations that you want. And then it's also very delicious with a little bit of hot sauce on top. So I not only suggest that you start volunteering, I also want you to take a trip to Japan in this gorgeous bowl of delicious ramen. It's a beautiful way to experience Japanese culture yourself. So find a way to volunteer. You're going to make the world a better place, and more importantly, you will become a better person. That's what happened to me, and I'm sure that's what will happen with you. So take care. Thanks for joining me, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week.